discussion with this gentleman. He made a video, 45-minute video, and in it he criticized the scientific method. Can you believe that?
What did he criticize about it?
Well, he criticized, he says, it's not right. And we say, the scientific method is right, except that maybe he's got the wrong scientific method.
Or he should use the scientific method on his theory.
Yeah. Okay, so today we're going to discuss what he raised in his video, and that has to do with what an object is. And that is right down our line of work here. We love the word object. So here it is. Let me get it rolling for you. Listen carefully. Here goes. The questions and issues to be addressed in this rebuttal include: do synonyms qualify as definitions? Are see and touch rational criteria to define the word object for the purposes of physics?
So the definition that I found from Googling is a material thing that can be seen or touched. However, there is also another definition that we will get to later. So I'd say that in both of those examples, they can be seen or touched, just not necessarily by you. The definition doesn't require that it has to be seen or touched, it just requires that it can be.
Okay, so the first thing I have to notice from what he said, I'll put here the summary, is that he's an expert at copy-paste. I mean, all he did was copy-paste from, I guess, the Google or from the dictionary, and he just put it up there, and that's it. He said, that's what I found. He never thought that he could criticize a definition, that he could change a definition or object to it and say, hey, that's not a rational definition. And it's like, you wonder about these people. It's like they have just absorbed. They're just memorizing stuff. It's poetry for them. It just goes in one ear and out the other. He just repeats what he sees out there, and that's bad. That's not the way we have to do science. If something is broken, you fix it. If a definition is wrong, you fix it.
That's actually a good point that a lot of people don't bring up, the fact that some people say, see, this is the definition of whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's not how words work.
No,
we make up our own definitions. If they're not serving the conversation, then we have to make up our own.
Especially in physics, you can't just bring indiscriminately from ordinary speech words into physics and say, well, that's what it says in the dictionary. That's what I copied and pasted. It doesn't work that way. If it's wrong, if it's irrational, and you want to bring it over, no, you have to redefine it. You have to redefine it, and if you find something wrong with it, criticize it. Obviously, you're going to criticize it if you can't use it in science. And so that's one issue.
Definitions being up to debate, that's a big point. The fact that a definition isn't written in stone. Because if someone comes to
we invent words every day.
Yeah. But if two, like even mainstream physicists are on a stage with, let's say, a religious person, the religious person defines God as that which exists already. He introduces the word existence in God's definition, and by definition he would exist.
Right. And
so that definition would just trump everything. He could just say whatever he wants.
Right.
Just by the definition.
So words have to be very carefully defined, and that's one issue. But the other one is that, these mathematicians, they call themselves physicists, scientists, whatever they call themselves, and they always skip that very important first step of the scientific method, which is make your assumptions. Put your assumptions on the line so that we can see your definitions, the objects you're going to use, and your initial scene. And they skip that step. They say, well, that's philosophy. That's semantics. That's just word salad. And they say, let me tell you my theory. They jump over the first step of the scientific method. And here we see point number 2 from this fellow, and that's a material thing that can be seen or touched. Okay, material is already the word that we're trying to define. Material is the word object, more or less. And thing, again, he says material thing, and he didn't realize that. Thing is the word we're trying to define. So it doesn't even click in his brain. He doesn't have, the mental capacity to tie his shoes and chew gum at the same time. This poor fellow is really out of it. He should have figured this out all by himself, but he doesn't. He doesn't have the intelligence for this. Then he says, see, touch, but not by you. Oh, then by whom? I mean... You can see, touch it, but I can't. The blind man can't see it, so...
I like that, defined in the negative. So by anyone else but you. That's essentially what he said.
So this is not a definition, first of all. It's a proof, okay? You need to run an experiment to do see or touch. You need to touch it. And he said, well, but it doesn't have to be by you. Okay, is the word table not an object until we run the test? I mean, the word table, does it represent an object or not? He said, well, let me touch it and I'll tell you. That's his answer. Or see it, Can you touch the table you dreamed about last night? Well, I tried to touch my brain, but I can't touch the table I dreamed about. Is the word table an object or not? And so
It
he said,
depends on which table you're talking about now.
yeah, this is the issue. You can't touch the table on the other side of the universe, on the other side of the planet, etc. And then the last one, he says, can be. It doesn't mean that it has to be, he says, but it can be touched. Well, how do you know that you can touch the table until you actually touch it?
Because it has the property with if you click on properties, if you right click on it and open the properties tab, it says touchable.
Ah, that's in programming. I'm talking about physics, not programming.
No, God knows. If you had God's programming.
Yeah, how do you know you can touch it? I mean, if I say hologram, is a hologram a physical object or not? Well, he says, well, you have to see or touch it. And I'm saying, well, can I touch it? Can I see it? Maybe I can't even see it if I'm blind, right? Maybe I can't touch it. And does that make a hologram not an object because it's missing the see-touch criteria?
According to him, not by you. So if I were to do this, then it'd be fine.
No, he says you don't even have to touch it or necessarily have to touch it. He says that it can be touched, but unless you touch it or see it, you won't know.
Yeah. That's how they get around the see or touch. Well, I'm not there yet. Well, it's touchable or seeable. Well, how are you supposed to know if it's touchable or seeable?
Yeah, it's again, for example, I can give you another example. There's a light in the universe, right? You just saw a light.
That's poetic.
No, I'm saying suddenly there's a flash of light somewhere, a little dot just illuminated in the sky. Was that an object or was it not? Well, I could see it.
Yeah.
Okay. What if it didn't light up? What if there's something there you can't see? Obviously, you can't touch it, right? You say it can be touched, but you not necessarily have to touch it. You can see it, but you not necessarily have to see it. Well, maybe there's nothing there. Maybe there is something there. What do I call this X?
Well, all that just speaks to the subjectivity of that criteria.
Right.
Because if you're just having a bad day or if you're drunk or something, you just happen to see something, that doesn't make that real. That's something in your brain. Because then you can't tell if the object is there or if it's in your brain, and then it gets into this weird topic of who's seeing it and who's touching it.